Let me think.
O'clock, so you ready to do this?
Check, check.
Okay. Can I have your, yeah, okay. Now where did I put my agenda? Ah, there it is. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Debbie, roll call, please.
Yes, ma'am. Paula DePace. I'm here. Eileen Dunn. Mike Delf.
Here.
Dave Kaufman. Rick Agler.
Here.
Donna Mosier. Here. Susan Munia.
Here. Thank you. Proof of notice?
Notice is posted on Monday as required.
Okay, may I have a motion for the minutes of the meeting of March 19th?
I'll make the motion to approve the meeting, minutes as written. Second.
Any questions? Seeing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now we have minutes of the meeting on April 7th. May I have a motion for that? Which is the organization, wait, there's one before it.
I make a motion.
Hold on,
Second.
was there another?
Yes.
Yeah, where'd it go?
It's in there.
It's in here somewhere. It was, okay, March 27th, thank you. Can I have, Rick, is your motion for March 27th?
It is. My second is.
And Dave's second is too. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now for the meeting of, the organizational meeting of April 7th. May I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
For April 7th.
Organization.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. All right, treasurer's report. Can I have a motion to accept it as printed?
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
Any questions for the treasurer? Seeing none? All those, Rick?
I didn't mean to get in before you vote, but I'm just saying that, excuse me, the new treasurer, you, I, and others have had a lot of discussion what's going on. It's really advantageous.
Okay.
I don't think we voted.
No, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, treasurer's report approved, manager's report, please.
Since it was written, I have some other notes here at the bottom, stuff that I've added on. Hello.
There you go.
Guess I gotta eat it. Or could you turn me up there a little bit, Richard? How about that? There you go. Okay, on March 20th, the guys discovered the salt drink generator for the pool was not making chlorine. Also, they discovered a leak in the pool with geothermal. Both items have been rectified. On March 20th, pool medic fixed the broken light ring in the shallow end of the pool. Richard installed a handrail on the back staircase back here for the show, so nobody would fall down those stairs because there wasn't a handrail there. On 24th, I reported a street light pole that was demolished by a car hitting it. They even left the fender behind out on Ponderosa. March 25th, Mike began planting laribe grass in the front island to fill in the bare areas. He also planted crepe myrtle in Oaks Park. He's also completed the laribe planting out here in the island. They should fill in nicely. On March 26th, I met with a concrete contractor to get a price on a pickleball court. That contractor was just for the slab, and it came in at $17,000. I also got a complete bid for complete court without a fence for $33,400. So that's quite expensive. The removal of the two large oak trees previously approved by the board are scheduled for the 17th. The removal of the sidewalks will take place once the trees are down. Then the stump grinder contract will grind the stumps, the roots that damage the sidewalks, and once complete, the contractor will pour the new sidewalks. And as we discussed before, we're going to talk about budgeting of next year for sidewalk repairs due to the county attorney's opinion. On April 2nd, A&E Services checked out the convection oven in the kitchen that it was not heating properly. Ends up a new probe and board was required. The cost of the repair was $997. It's working fine. On April 2nd, I met with a rep from the county utilities department about water conservation. They would like to address our audience at the board meeting in May. What prompted their meeting here is we got busted for water going we weren't supposed to. We had some new sod out there in front of the parking lot. They have a 50% rule, or SWIFMUD does. If at least 50% of the zone that you're running is a new material, you can't run it on the daily as needed. So when you turn on that zone, a whole bunch of areas come on, so we have to start hand work. Guys have been taking care of that. But they're going to be here at the board meeting on May to discuss water conservation, give some people some tips and what have you. On April 12th, the women's room vanity was delivered. It's been installed and it's complete now. On April 7th, Mark regrouted the top tile of the spa, which had to stay closed for several hours, allowing the grout to dry. The vanity, as I said, was done. We got a new copier delivered to the office. I guess they exchange it every so often through them. The lease on it's just only a couple dollars difference. There was an issue with one of the planers in the wood shop. Turned out to be a broken wire. Then we further found out the switch was no good. We had Lowry Electric come in and install a regular old on-off switch on it. So it's working fine now. The ice machine broke down, stopped making ice. We had service come in, Baycoast, is it, Deb? Mm-hmm. Come in and check it out. They're our contractor for that. Burned out capacitor to cracked pump. It's going to be $700 some to fix it. New machines, roughly $7,000. So we're going to spend $700 to get fixed. The tennis court resurfacing should begin the second week of May. We also met with the Mike Sue, myself met with 2 representatives from the reserve company to go over an updated reserve study. We should be receiving that shortly. Had to call out a plumber due to the instant hot water heater for the shower in the ladies' and men's bathroom. The heater is old, rusted, and shot. As you can see, I added they added a proposal for Billy Sunshine Plumber, it's a reputable plumber that I've been using for years. The replacement of the heater, regulator, all associated plumbing is $2,775. That's above my spending, so I'll need the board to approve that.
I entertain a motion now to approve the contract, from Billy the Sunshine Plumber for $2775.76 to be charged to the reserve,
The spa equipment.
spa equipment in the reserve.
Yeah.
I'll move.
I'll second.
I have some discussion on that.
Yep. Let's go ahead.
Is tankless new for us on that, or are we?
No, we already had an old tankless on the wall.
Okay,
It's
that's
shot,
what I didn't
it's
know.
rusted out.
Any other questions? Eileen?
Is this the only bid you got?
Yeah, Billy the Sunshine Plumber has always come in the lowest of any plumber I've ever used. I've used them for years. They're very reputable, they do good work.
Normally we get 3 bids. We get 3 bids from it. Is this like in line? Is this in line with the cost of what these things go for?
Yes, yeah, and this is a commercial unit. You'll get the commercial guarantee. You don't want to buy a cheaper residential model. And we need to get it done quick. And I didn't have time to.
Is that one leaking?
No, it's just not working. It's supposed to
Oh, it's
work.
not working.
Right. And we need to get it back online because people are complaining about cold showers. Also, the Sunshine Plumber is looking at, because you all know that the push
Is that the
button,
reason we're getting this last minute?
Yes.
because it wasn't, I didn't have it until today. Also, the problem we've been having with the push button on the shower, everybody's slamming it, slamming it, slamming it. We've replaced 10 of them already since Mark's been here. They're $150 a pop. I got the plumber looking at some other configuration, some other kind of lever, spring-loaded lever that'll work much better and we won't have to replace as often. They haven't gotten me that cost yet, but they will.
It's on a warranty on this thing.
On the heater?
Yeah.
I can get that information for you, but it's a commercial warranty, so it's got to be for at least probably 5 years.
On the water, so.
One other thing, two other things. We got some fountain lights out. Richard, did you get a chance to go out there and?
They're all out.
They're all out? Okay, all right. And then, we got a new hire coming on board tomorrow morning. His name is Javon Rochelle. He's been through the background check and the drug screening. He has a good maintenance background and he will be starting at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. And that concludes my report.
Madam President,
1 second.
point of order, I think we're in the middle of
Yes.
voting. Voting on the motion. I don't think we ever voted on the motion.
Okay. All right, there was, Dave, you wanted to speak?
Yeah.
I just didn't want to interrupt Jack's report.
I didn't know if I could yet or not.
You can.
When you said something about, when you said, it was not on. When you said something about the shower, have you ever thought about looking into a timer, like a couple minute timer where we're shut off automatically?
With that, we're looking at all avenues.
Okay, because I
That's
just,
what he's, that's what he's
saying
doing.
about, we had one of those lever handles, and they had a problem with that before. So I know we've had a problem with the push button, but what about a timer? Something we might want to look into.
Yeah, well, the plumber's looking at all angles.
Donna, question?
On this salt generator for the pool, is this not the same thing that we keep repairing?
We had the salt generators on the pool replumbed before. You periodically have to go in, take them apart and clean these flat grids in there because they get calcified and then they stop generating chlorine. You gotta take them apart, you gotta scrub them down with a wire brush, put it all back together. That normally puts it back on. And eventually, yes, they do wear out.
Did our crew do that job?
Was it Pool Medic or us that did that, Richard?
All right, now to continue with the vote on Billy, the Sunshine Plumber. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, next would be the Art Committee.
Ed Hibbert for the Art Committee. We received 27 requests, 25 were okay. We have 2 of the board go over that we did not okay.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the 25 that went fine.
So move.
Second.
Any questions from the board on those that are approved? Go ahead, Paula.
Oh, no, I was just.
Oh, you had your hand up and I was,
Yes.
okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes. Now we have 2.
2 of them, yes. I'll go over the first one, then we'll go to the second one. They're both from Driftwood. And one had a variety of items that we had to go.
Why
back
don't we
and
do the salt tree first?
Yeah.
Do the salt tree one first. The salt tree is the driveway.
Yes, that's entirely up to the board.
Let's look at the salt, because that one's easy.
Yeah. Okay. That is not the
Right, that's-
job of the art committee. It's in the documents that the board of directors can okay that. There are other ones in Driftwood that have the driveway, just it needs your okay.
Okay,
I'd like to comment.
okay, but let's get a motion on the floor first. Just to let everyone on the board know that we have, that was in our packet, that explains that anyone in the family villages, both Driftwood and San Clemente, are allowed to have circular drives, so that there's no question. I'd like a motion about the Salt Tree Drive to approve it.
I make a motion to approve it.
All
I'll
right,
second it.
all right. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we can go to the one that's not so easy.
We have several of them that have been rectified. Ones that don't, are not, is the fence. They're proposing a metal fence colored black. I can have pictures of it here if you wish to see them. It's something that we do not have.
All right,
They do allow some black covered ones, as long as it's chain link, but those are not. This is a solid metal fence.
Metal fences are not allowed.
yeah, that I was just going to say to the board that in our covenants, the types of fences that you're allowed are the wood, vinyl, chain link, but not a solid metal fence. And this is a solid metal fence. And we have no restriction on color, so the black is not a problem. The problem is that we're gonna, that it's against the covenants.
I suggested to her that she shop to see if she could find a black vinyl fence. I don't know if there is, but I told her to check it out.
All right, so
The only
that's,
other problem with that, which she can rectify, that we have to have a site survey of that, because when she's putting up a new fence, we need to know where the lot line is, and that's included in the park covenants.
Okay, so that's two
The
things that
other
we
one,
have.
the other one is just the extension of the driveway, where we still have a problem, and the only reason that it's got a problem is she's negated to put the width of the driveway when it's extended, the total width, which would be 22 feet. She's not indicated any of that, she just says extend the driveway. So
Okay,
we have to have that, so the maximum width is 22 feet for a two-car garage.
okay. Question also for you, on those stepping stones. that
Stepping
she-
stones are fine, that's just like a drive.
Did she say that they were just stepping stones?
Yes,
The one sketch she gave us showed them separate of the driveway leading to the front door.
Yeah, because I thought you asked her that question also on the,
I think we've had a problem with specifying size, type, and color though, haven't we?
yes.
Yeah, she just said that they're stepping stones.
Yes, she just says stepping stone, just.
Madam President. I've been off the board for a while, so don't know the answer to this. When they're putting in a brand new fence, I take it there's no other fence there. Is that correct?
Not to my knowledge, no.
So don't they
But
also
there
have
is-
to
I
have?
believe she has
Can I
an
finish
old
my
wood
question?
fence.
No,
What's that?
I believe she does have an old wood fence,
No.
part of it. At least
No.
between her and the dogs next door.
but that's behind her, the two sides. She does not have, there's
Okay,
no
all right.
existing fence.
My bad. It's behind her.
Well, my question is, does she have to have a county permit for this also?
No, there's no county permits required for fencing. The only thing we're worried about is it has to be on there, on the lot line. We do not know what the lot line is unless we have.
I'm
a
surprised
survey.
because, I own other properties in this county and everyone I have.
County does not issue permits for fences.
They have in the past, I know.
In fact, I know that they don't. They do
Okay,
not.
well, I'm just asking the question, that's all, because I know my neighbors up at my other properties in this county had to get.
all right, and has she taken off the parking pad that she wanted on the driveway? Where
Yes.
she's taken that off?
Yeah, but that's, she's been told that that's not. allowed.
Okay. So
So some of the difficulty also that I see in it, that she's been doing these correspondence over, mostly with text. She has not come into the office to do it where you could, as manager or someone else or us. could
I've asked her
discuss
some
with
the
it.
forms and she's just, put it in an email, this is what I want, without submitting the form.
we can't hear you.
She has submitted her request via email and has not submitted the appropriate ACR form as should be done.
Okay, before I entertain a motion, LeMay, you had a question? I wasn't trying to ignore you.
It wasn't really a question, but the metal fences are a new thing that's coming out. They're much more sustainable than the vinyl fences. I think we may need to look at that as an option for fencing, whoever wants to put it up.
I agree with you, it's something new, but right now our documents say no.
Right.
We'd have to change the documents for that.
You could change the board could change the ARC policy with proper notice to the residents.
Okay. Can I, Lisa, you have some questions? Okay. Would you come up to the mic, please?
Hi, I'm Lisa Martino.
Can't hear you.
Hi, I'm Lisa Martino, Driftwood Community, homeowners group. This particular woman has emailed Jack, and Jack sent the emails to me. And according to her, she said there are 10 other homes in the community that have these metal fences. And in our exchange, I asked her to please supply to us the addresses and pictures, if she could, or at least the home address of these various homes that have this metal fence. So she hasn't responded. She wants us to use Google Earth to do Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know. So I told her that if we can't see the fence from the road, the committee can't write a violation for it if we can't see it. We have no way of knowing if it's.
If the fence that she wants to put in, she wants to put into, go to the front of the house.
I'm not sure where she wants to put it.
Well, that's where her diagram
Okay.
says from the front
Okay.
of the house, so we would see it. And you would see it from the side driving up too, because I drove by the house and was looking. So, I think our only option at this point is to, one, tell her at this point, she cannot put up a metal fence. And then say that the board is looking into about creating a change to the ARC document and what it would what it would entail. I mean, that would be about the only thing that we could do at this point, other than tell her, no, she can't.
Her concern is that there are other fences and that we are discriminating against her and she wants to have a lawsuit. I mean, it's gone like, it's insane.
That's our problem, not your problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The other thing is, it'll come back to me.
That's all right.
Moment.
It's
Sorry.
1 second before Ed behind Ed. Well,
I just had a question. Does it specifically deny metal fences?
It's not
Because
included.
It's
chain
not-
link is a metal fence.
it
So
says
is it-
chain link.
Yeah, but-
It doesn't say whether it's a plastic chain link or a metal chain link. It says
Right.
chain link.
So I'm just thinking, is there some way, if it doesn't specifically deny metal fences?
We'd have to check with the attorney before we just
Right.
automatically said yes. Okay,
Right.
thank you, Donna.
Well, I was just gonna make a motion that we table this until we look into it.
Or do we want to give her the permission to paint her house? Because that's all on this. That for now, that we will table the fence and the driveway until she gets us
If she could put the,
specifications of the driveway.
she could paint the fence or paint the house, put a new front door in. The
Mhm,
front door does have to have a county permit.
right. And also
And the shed.
the shed. She can do all those without okay. We'll make a motion that we approve the shed, the painting of the house, and the front door with a county permit.
I amend my motion.
Is there a second? And, okay, all those
I
in
have a
favor?
question.
Okay,
Is
question.
the shed the proper size? I think I read they were supposed to be 6 by 10.
No, driftwood is 8 by 10, I
Driftwood is
believe.
8 by 10.
8 by 10.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we need another motion.
So just for clarification though, that's specific, that all that approves is all the other stuff other than the metal fence.
The middle fence and the driveway. Yes,
Waiting on there.
right. That we need another motion for the driveway and also we're not approving the steps yet until she gives the size of what the stepping stones are. I didn't think she had the size, she just had the drawing. Okay. Can I have a motion to state that we are denying at this time?
Denying or you tabled?
Oh, well, we'll table the fence, the stepping stones, and
Concrete driveway.
the driveway.
I so move.
Second.
Any questions from the board? Any other questions on that? What?
Put all the cement down, does she have to comply with the rules about
How much rest you have to have that?
Well, she's only. Maximum width is 22 feet. The maximum width is 22 feet. She has to do something that says it's not gonna be more than 22 feet.
Eileen, when you talk, mic. When you talk, use your mic. Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None, seeing none, motion carries. I think we're done with you, Ed. All right. Now, committee reports. I have a, 1 second. I have planning committee.
I won't be as long. Listed now fines and suspension. Hearings were held on April 8th for prior violations approved at the last board meeting. We received 4 violations. 2 of them were corrected. 1 violation was enforced and 1 violation was not enforced. The one that we did not enforce, and it was unanimous, was the pet behavior one. We really didn't have a whole lot to go on. The resident did come to the meeting, the resident that was committed the violation. And it was the material that we were working with back in 24, and according to the resident, this had been corrected back in 24. And she was very surprised when she got the letter for the violation. And we really couldn't, because based on that and the fact that both dogs are service dogs and they come in the house at night, because I did ask if it parked after 10 o'clock. We found that we couldn't justify enforcing it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Any
you.
questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
And you're right, you weren't as long. Next committee, Live Oak, please.
Good afternoon. Our Live Oaks Board, which meets once a month, the last Tuesday of the month, we discussed our 2025, remainder of 2025. We are discussing how we can improve volunteerism here in Timber Oaks. We do know that some of that comes from the demographic change that's going on here. We are certainly seeing younger people coming in that are still working, so they don't have always the capacity to volunteer. But our attendance at our events are still good, and we are in good shape as far as volunteers for the rest of 2025. The activities director and myself met with Deb to start our 2026 calendar, which is getting quite full. So we're working through that. Our next board meeting will be April 29th. And on behalf of the Live Oaks Board, we'd just like to thank Tosca for continually fixing and making sure things are working that we use all the time. We knew the warmer wasn't working right, and then Sunday we discovered the ice machine wasn't working. So these are all things that we really appreciate, that the board and the residents support being always working. So thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for, okay. And we have from the Driftwood Committee, Lisa.
Okay, can you hear me? Yes. Over the years, the Driftwood community and Tosca have not had the best.
Can you put it right in front of us?
Okay, there?
Yeah.
Okay. Over the years, the Driftwood committee and Tosca.
Pull it down. Pull it down to help the blank. There you go.
Okay, I'll start. Over the years, the Driftwood Committee and Tosca have not had the best relationship, and I have attempted to change that by communicating with each one of the board members as well as by phone calls, as well as providing an email, which will give you the update of all the new resolved totals in our community. We have many. Driftwood needs to be, need help, and we're doing that. Many years ago, we entered into a legal settlement agreement that sets us apart from all the other villages. While we are part of Tuska, we also have maintained certain exclusions not shared by other communities. One of those exclusions is the fact that, and I quote, family committee composed of 6 Driftwood residents only will advise the Tuska board with regard to problems and issues unique to the family resident, end of quote, often resulting in violations according to the deed restriction guidelines put forth by Tuska. We have successfully done this for the last 4 years. The first change proposed by Sue would allow a non-Driftwood resident to take all photos of Driftwood violations. Since the committee is composed of Driftwood residents only, allowing Linda to take our violation photos is a direct violation of the settlement, since she is not a resident, but an employee of the management company. This proposal has been enforced without board approval and is the opposite of what I have quoted from the legal document. The settlement does go on to say that the enforcement of the deed restrictions can only be recommended by the committee residents. Yet on March 24th, Linda and Jack took photos and issued violations without the committee. This action overwhelmed the office by causing confusion, which greatly increased the normal flow of violations submitted to the committee at one time. I believe Sue sincerely believes that she has the authority alone to tell the committee who, when, and how our violations can be processed. The reason for this change, given by Sue, was that it was in, quote, the best use of the staff. The needs and concerns of Driftwood and its volunteers are ignored and replaced with feckless proposals that only divide our community further, and we want to be united. Okay, I have the privilege and honor of working with Darlene for over 4 years. We have never had a problem communicating in real time the many issues the violations produce and the timing necessary to maintain a consistent flow of violations over several days a week. I have always been sensitive to Darlene's many daily responsibilities by submitting only a few at a time every few days. Maintaining a consistent flow allows us to achieve the maximum results and goals needed to clean up Driftwood Village. We have on occasion taken a pause when necessary to recommend the best time management for all concerned, both Darlene and the committee. However, a steady flow of violations sent out every few days is required to successfully manage the problem as we are dealing with every day. Under the new proposal, Linda will send out our violations only 1 day a week on Wednesday. This means if a violation is reported to the office late Wednesday afternoon, it will not go out until Linda takes the photo the following Wednesday. Delay, delay, delay. This proposal will greatly hinder the timely issuing of violations. Homeowners are always asking, why does it take so long? And now this proposal will make it take even longer. Not all violations are sent directly to homeowners. Some still are mailed the old-fashioned way. Again, time delay. Can't help that. It is my understanding that if the board wants to review our violations, they will have the same access as they do with the violations sent in by Linda. The second proposed change would require the committee to provide majority vote per violation dated and submitted to the board for each and every violation before it can be sent out. The ruling was very confusing, but that's what I got from it. If for some reason the majority of the committee fails to respond in a timely manner, the violations are delayed another week. We don't have all these weeks to delay. We need to get the problems resolved, and that's the committee's desire. I admire Sue's attention to detail. However, sometimes this quality can lead to overcomplicating a system that is already proven to be both successful and time sensitive. Why now? I don't understand. The last director never had to jump through all these hoops. In conclusion, the committee is hopeful, having heard all the facts, you will agree to abide by the terms of the settlement agreement, which were granted to the family committee the right to perform all of the duties pertaining to Driftwood by Driftwood residents. All we want to do is clean up our community, and we would need the cooperation of the board to allow us to continue to do that the way we've been doing it for the last 4 years very successfully. Our current number of resolved violations is probably somewhere around, with what Jack sent me this morning, probably somewhere around 920, maybe 130. But we have been doing our job and doing it well. Thank you.
Okay, now, before you sit down, I sent you a copy of what's in the covenants. And this is, what's in the covenants is the legal document that we need to follow. And what it says, and I will read this for the audience. As you said, a Driftwood committee consisting of 6 Driftwood members will be elected annually. That's the elected annually by the Driftwood members to advise the board and with regard to problems and issues unique to Driftwood members. The Driftwood committee, by majority vote, shall make recommendations to the board regarding enforcement of lot use restrictions as now contained in Article 1 of the Recorded Declaration of Covenants as amended against the Driftwood member. In other words, it says you have to by majority vote. The reason this was not followed before was because we were letting the Driftwood director seem, we didn't have a Driftwood committee for most of the time. We did not, hold on, I'm going back even further. The one Driftwood director wouldn't let us go anywhere near Driftwood. And that's a long time ago.
25 years ago.
No, it was even less than that. I haven't lived here 25 years.
Who was the director?
I'm not gonna argue with you.
Well, I'm inquiring.
It was Robert Lister.
Well, that was more than 25 years
No,
ago.
it was less than that. I was on the board when he was still director.
Okay.
So, it's less. The documents say this. Now, no one said you have to do this, hold a committee meeting. You can do it over the phone. We just want documentation that your committee members, all of you, are looking at it, not just one person on it. The board, and then there's another part. The board may refer a possible use restriction violation occurring on a lot owned by a Driftwood member to the Driftwood committee, which shall submit a recommendation to the board. And then there is a process if both boards, if the committee and the board disagree, there's a process that would have to go through for us to come to a conclusion. I am just asking, when you are the ones who are going and finding violations, all that Linda does when Linda goes in, like she did today, is to take pictures. Now, of the pictures she took, most of them, the violation had been cleared, so they're not going to get a letter. If we had waited and just done it with Darlene doing it, Darlene would have had to take the pictures that you take, put them on her computer, put it on a piece of paper, and then fill in all the forms that are automatically filled in by when Linda goes and takes the picture. We're not doing the deed restriction. Your committee would be doing the deed restriction. All we need from you is you send in a list, if you want to take the pictures and then show it to your committee members so they don't have to go each one individually to look at a house, fine. We're not trying to dictate how your committee does its job. But the rule that it says in here is that you are to take a vote. And the reason for the vote, if somebody in Driftwood complains, they complain to the office. And they would complain and say, this lady keeps coming around and looking at my yard or whatever, we could go back and say that there was a picture taken on this day. Here is the picture. You received a letter with the picture, and the Driftwood Committee, it's not one person who doesn't like you, because I'm sure you've heard that, but doesn't like you. It's the committee by a majority vote voted that, yes, that looks like a violation. So yes, you do have to fix your violation. We're not trying to be mean and nasty. We want to help, as you said, Driftwood still needs help. We want to help. We want to help, and just like you just got a call from Jack, because we found a violation that came into the office about someone with chickens. And chickens are not allowed in anywhere in Timber Oaks. And Jack said to you, do you want to handle the violation or do you want us to? And you said it was fine for us to handle which we did.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. He said he had a picture. He said, do you want to go ahead and send a violation? I said, if you have a picture, go ahead and send it. Well, I didn't have a picture. So that was the first I heard of it. So
Well,
of course, we
we
want to move this along as quickly as possible.
And that's what we're saying.
Right.
You get the pictures. If you want to take the pictures like you have done, fine, take the pictures. Send the pictures to the rest of your committee members, or if any committee member is taking pictures, because to look at them also, which is fine. Send them to your committee and say you have 1 day, 2 day. Darlene can't stop every time you send in just to do Driftwood. It is much easier for her and for us to keep records. If you send us the address, what the violation is, and the date, and how many people voted, if they all vote for it, fine. Put down it was 6-0 on every violation and the date, so we have a record of it. All we're asking for is that email with all that on it. From there, it will go out on the Wednesday of the week. If you send it in Monday, Tuesday, fine. If you have to wait till Thursday to send it in, it will go next Wednesday. No one else in Timber Oaks gets it any quicker. No one else in Timber Oaks gets it any quicker. We're just trying to follow what it says. This was a legal settlement. This is what it says in the legal settlement of how to do it. That's why your assessment are based on the CPI. They're not based on what we need to say is your share of any of the expenses on common ground. One second. Eileen?
The holdup with that is Timber Oaks people, the people that live in the houses and not, or we don't do the condos, they get an instant, she takes a picture and the letter goes.
That's exactly what
They have an email
I'm
address.
speaking, please. If you do the Driftwood way, waits a week to go in there, goes back and takes the pictures over there, and then it's another week before they go out. That's not fair. Those people get an extra week.
No, they
versus us.
No, they don't. If Linda goes out today to look around, right? The letter goes out today, whether it's going email or whether it's going to be mail, it will go out today.
Whether it goes email or not, the paper copy goes out too.
The paper copy goes out. And people in Driftwood, if they have an email address on file, will get it. If Linda had one today, well, most of the ones today that she had were already resolved. But there was at least one in Driftwood that did go today. That person has an email, the owner has an email on file, he will have already gotten or will get it today, the email about the letter that there's something wrong. He will also get a written email you will get a copy of the email. We're not stopping, we're not keeping you out of the loop, we're keeping you in the loop, and we're just trying to follow what it says in our covenants. And just because it wasn't followed that way before does not mean it was right.
What happened to, what we had that meeting with them? And we said,
We would
we
give them,
agreed
we
to
would
do
give,
it,
we would,
let them do it their way,
well,
which
I-
requires Darlene. I
but
guess,
why should we,
To help.
it still does not make it
More than
right.
2 minutes.
It does.
Well, it's not a half
I
hour
address
person.
this.
Yes, please.
I think if you look at the documents and you look at the process that we use for the rest of Timber Oaks, the board doesn't vote on every violation that comes up. We vote when it goes to finding. And I think that you can interpret this to mean that this committee would vote when it goes to finding,
No,
not when a violation is written.
no, because they don't
That's
have that power
ungainly for
yet.
them to vote on every single violation written. It doesn't make sense.
Yes, it does, because they are being looked at by members of their community. Our community, it is not, Mike doesn't go out and look in his village or whatever. This way, it is a majority, and if you go back to the legal lawsuit, which I have,
If you go back,
if you go back,
you can go back to when each subdivision in our community had a representative.
yes,
And when
and
this
that's why we
lawsuit
don't
took
anymore.
place, that's how it was done. And
Yes.
still, you didn't have people voting on a violation. It's just ungainly for it to be done that way.
It's not ungainly how hard is it? If somebody,
You've got 6 people,
6 people, and
they
you
aren't
get 6,
retired like we are. They can't
some
all
of
get
them are.
together all the time. And
Okay. Ed,
they go in, if you look at how they work, they go in teams or they go out and cover different areas of Driftwood.
that's not how they've been
But
doing
they
it
just,
before.
they just have gotten the 6. Before they were working with 4. And 2 of the people worked all the time and were snowbirds that weren't here. That did not be able to go out. You
It's
said
just-
so
we do
yourself
not
in the
have
last
snowbirds on
meeting.
the committee.
Okay, can I? This is the procedure that we would like to try. If it doesn't work out, we'll discuss it again. But this is what it says to do in here. These are the rules that we were given, and these are the rules that have not been
But
changed.
you're looking at minutia instead of looking at the general way it's
Okay.
done. And that's not how you interpret.
All right, Ed, it's been more than 3 minutes. There's LeMay would like to speak.
Yeah, the last meeting, excuse me, the last meeting we had, before I was off this committee board, we discussed this, all of us, with people in the audience. And you were against it then, Sue. You seem to be against no matter what happens. They have been, no, let me finish. They have been doing what we asked them to do. Our biggest concern was communication. And since that meeting, we have received numerous emails from Lisa explaining what they're doing. Everything has been open and above board. This committee was allowed to take over Driftwood long ago, 3-4 years ago, when they had a Driftwood director. It was voted on by the entire board that Driftwood would police themselves, and it has worked out well. Now, of course, you have people that look at Driftwood and say, oh, that place is terrible and I wouldn't want to live there. But you have to look at how it was before this committee took over. She has the knowledge of Driftwood, we do not. We discussed this and said we do not want Linda to take any more responsibility. She misses violations in our own community. Yet you're gonna add more onto her workload. I don't see it. I don't agree with it.
Thank you, Lynette. You're welcome.
Are there any board members that have anything to say?
I would like to say, I think we should.
Good night.
I think we should let Driftwood do their own thing. That's fine. The way you've been doing it, it's been working fine. You know, let it be. Let Lisa do your job.
Mike?
I'm just looking back through the minutes. I think we need to give the new committee an opportunity. The minutes say that the Driftwood Committee gets elected and starts in April. They're elected in April. We have this committee of 6. I think we should give them a chance. And see where it goes. Give them a month or two and let them see how it works out for them.
I have a question. Why do we have covenants? Why do we have covenants? And why, and I don't think we are asking that much of the Driftwood Committee. Eileen, let me finish what I'm saying, please. Why should we be asking them not to follow what it says to do? It says in here that they have to vote. Am I saying they have to hold a meeting and raise their hands and have us? No. If you as I don't know if you've been elected committee chair, we never get it. I don't know. I don't really
Would you
care.
like me to respond to that? Would you like me to respond to that?
No, no, because if you let us know, that's one thing. If you don't, that's fine. We know that we can communicate with you, that you've been the one to communicate with. However, all I'm saying is you have been going around, I know you have been going around, and I believe, I can't think of what her name, the other lady who was with you, who was on at least last year on the committee.
Tina and
Tina.
her husband, yes, and they have been helping.
That, I'm not
Say
saying they're not. No one's saying that. I'm just saying, try it our way. Try it our way and see if you're not getting the same results.
How can we get the same results when less violations go out, less
They
frequently?
won't be less.
Yes, they will.
Why will
Once
they
a
be
week
less?
as opposed to every several days.
It doesn't go out every
They
several days.
do. If a violation comes in on Thursday, it doesn't go out until the following Wednesday or Thursday. If it comes in on Thursday, we send it out Thursday or Friday.
And you send it out Friday, and what
the-
makes you think that Darlene is going to jump on every,
Darlene and I communicate every time, and we discuss it. And she asked me not to send too many. I said, fine, we will lessen the load. I understand that. But if they're
Well, now
consistently
you can-
sending out, no, so I'm supposed to send Linda 30 violations a week, and she can handle 30 more photographs a week?
if we need.
Are you serious?
If you send us 30 violations in a week, we will get them done. If we need to use more resources, we will
But
get
there's no
it done.
point in using more resources when you have people that are working for free. Why do you want to pay Linda more
Darlene
when
isn't
we're
working
working
for free. Darlene isn't
No,
working.
she's
for
not, but
for
she
free.
does her job
And she does her job.
very
And
well.
her job is, no one's arguing whether
Right.
Darlene is doing her job. But Darlene's job, if you're gonna send that many, I don't know,
I don't send her 30 a week. I'm not saying that.
but you're just,
What I'm saying is, if you're gonna have Linda, and you're gonna have to pay Linda more money to do 30 of our violations, your neighborhoods are going to be affected. There's no way one person can do that successfully. When you have 6 that wanna do it for free, you wanna pay one to do more, and she won't cover everything. It's not possible. The pictures are this big. You can't even see them. Unless you take the picture yourself, you have no way of knowing what you're looking at.
Yes, we do.
Oh, you have excellent vision. That's wonderful.
No,
If you
no,
can take the
excuse
picture,
me.
you can see.
You do not know what is available to the board.
Okay.
What is available to the board is that they can see, and if they go on to the website, they can see the picture.
And our photos are on the website as well. Everything that Darlene submits is on the website.
Okay.
You have access
All
to
right,
that.
excuse me, Lisa, we're
Yes.
going to, right now, we're going to let the board speak, and then we are going to finish with committee reports. This has gone on too long. Okay, yes, the board, I said you can. Yes.
I hear what you're saying about how the rules and everything go there.
Your mic is not on, or you're not,
It's not working.
or you're not speaking into it.
Okay, how about now?
That's better.
Okay. I understand what you're saying about complying with the settlement agreement there, but they've not followed the settlement, and I think like Ed said, we've made changes to how we do deed restrictions, and I guess they found it necessary to make changes also because of the nature of their committee. And we had a special meeting with them that was open to the public, and we agreed to let them continue to do it the way they had been. So I don't think it's fair to them to all of a sudden go and change how they've been doing it. Right? And I understand that they only bring Darlene like 5 or 6 at a time to ask her to put into the computer, and I don't think it takes her all day to do it. So it seems like we should let them continue to do it in somewhat orderly fashion, and if it doesn't work, then I think we're gonna have to go do some other way. We have more problems here. I know in my neighborhood, there's a whole street that's a big
Well,
mess back there. That I don't think she's gotten to.
Eileen, we're on your foot. Let Donna speak now.
I was speaking.
I think I'm kind of in agreements with Mike. I say they've got the new committee, they start in April. I say let's give them a 2-month grace period. Let's see how things play out. If it doesn't, then we'll sit down, we'll have another meeting and come up with something else. But this will go back and forth, and nothing's getting accomplished.
Jerry, and then we're done with the topic.
I don't think nobody's gonna like what I say, but I think everybody needs to grow up, own what you voted last election. And the board voted to let them try it out and try it. You're not giving them a chance. It's like kids being kids. Let me take my ball and go home. Because we got a new president today, or a new whatever. Let them do what they give them 2 months or 3 months, but bickering back and forth is useless.
Thanks, Jerry. Okay. Committee reports.
So are we gonna make a motion on this or not? Because it's been brought up by 2 board members.
Okay.
Let's give them the 2 months.
We will make a motion.
I did, I made a motion to bring it for 2 months. Let's see how they do.
Can I ask a question? In 2 months' time, what are you hoping to accomplish? What do you want to see in 2 months? And we'll double it.
Hold on a second before we get to, what would you want to see as progress?
Well, I think you wanted them to vote. I mean, that's really what the only difference between what we wanted last month.
No, that's also taking the picture. letting Linda take the picture.
No, I don't think Linda needs to.
No, I
Just
don't-
keep doing it the way we're doing it.
Okay, in other words,
If
we're
Darlene
putting,
finds it a problem, then we have to do something.
excuse me, let me ask
Darlene
Jack.
doesn't seem to think it's a problem.
Yeah, Jack,
Yeah.
how much of this time, what do you think would be the most efficient way for it to be done?
Personally, I think, I'm not knocking your process, Lisa. It does take Darlene more time to process those letters manually than it would for Darlene to go out, for Linda to go out, use the tablet, hit them up, automatically produces the letter, throws them in the system, and it's done. That's my opinion. It's your manager. It's more efficient that way. We only do letters once a week. Not every 2 days. So I'm for Linda going out there because you're usually only doing, 6, 7, 8 a week.
No, that's not correct.
I haven't seen a larger
Well,
list.
because of all of this proposal, we were told that Darlene was not allowed to do anything, that we had to wait until
I
they were not
don't
voted on.
believe that's what was
Well,
said,
we-
that
yeah,
Darlene
well,
wasn't
that's what I was
allowed.
told.
I'm just saying that, to me, from a management standpoint, it would be more efficient. You send over the list, Linda goes out, photographs them, produces them in the system, gets them out with the rest of the timber oaks. That's just my opinion.
It's, okay, thank you, Jack. Go ahead, Eileen.
Just, the only thing is then you're taking Linda away from Timber Oaks, and she doesn't have enough hours in the day to do Timber Oaks. I just don't think that. The agreement was to leave
I'm
it
just
the way
saying,
it
a
was.
handful of letters that we do.
I hear what you're saying, that's a simple way, it would be quicker to do it the way you're saying. But it's
But
Linda's,
it's not a
I know,
mass
it's
amount.
Linda's
It's not
time,
a
and
mass
if you
amount.
send Darlene out with her, that's keep getting her out of the office,
Okay.
and we're paying her too much money to go drive around the farm.
Okay, can I say one thing? After the last meeting, I spoke to Darlene, who has no problems doing it the way she's been doing it. It's already established, and no one had a problem with it before. Otherwise, you're overloading her once a week. What difference does it take if she does them? And I asked her, no one seems to be saying what Darlene feels about this. She has no problem with it.
I'll just go by what
Okay.
Darlene told me.
All right,
That's what
This-
she told me.
okay. Lisa,
Yes,
will you sit down, the board will take action
I
now.
would like to know what you
Well, if you
require in
sit
2
down,
months.
You sit down,
Okay,
okay, I would like a motion that is specific as to what would the board feel is satisfactory in 2 months? What, for those of you who want to see what progress is in 2 months, what would be satisfactory in 2 months? What's the motion,
I
please?
make a motion.
Can't hear you.
there's a motion out the door already.
Well, this one's there. I make a motion that we continue the way it was and have Darlene do the pictures in the office.
And what is the goal that they need to meet in 2 months? Since that's the part that I
Excuse
like.
me, point of order, Donna has already put a motion on the floor.
There was no second.
There was a motion on the
Was it
floor.
asked for?
But there was no second.
Okay.
Yes.
Already made one too, if you listen.
I'm just saying, if we're going to look at it in 2 months, then we need to know what we need to look at.
We just need to know what success is in 2 months.
Yes,
Um,
that's,
How many a month are they doing now? And how many a month are we expecting? And how many of those are getting closed and how many of them are not getting closed?
Of the 9 that they had put in, or 10 that went in, was it 10? I think Jack today that Linda said.
9 or 10.
9 or 10, one of them was still a viable violation.
We had more.
But you didn't send them in.
Well, they're not due until the 24th. So the 30 days is up on the 24th. So I have a death penalty violation that have been resolved, that we're in the process of compiling a list. What's open,
Okay.
what's resolved.
But the list that you gave to Darlene this past week, you had 2 lists.
I didn't have 2 lists.
There was-
You're confused, Jennifer. Susan, you're confused.
There were 9 violations that Linda was going to take pictures of today. It was either 9 or 10. So I'm off by 1 or I'm exactly right. Then of those, 1 was still a violation. The other 8 had violations already in the system, and those were all cleared. So the 8, according to the system, there was a violation for 8. We can go over it at another time. I can meet with you after and we'll go over those. But what I'm saying and what I'm just asking, I'm willing to wait 2 months, but what do we expect to see in 2 months? If we're going to truly evaluate what they're doing, let them do as many as they say they can in 2 months. And if they can do, if your committee goes out and does umpteen million, see if we can handle umpteen million, and if Darlene can handle umpteen million. I know
I'd like to
that's
see you do
crazy.
100.
But what I'm
We're
saying,
doing it with 100. That's the problem. You can't do 100 a day. We're not trying to be unreasonable.
Arguing and make a motion.
Yeah.
Move on.
yeah, come
I'm
on.
gonna leave already. Jeez.
All right. Do I have what is the goal for the 2 months to make motions?
Well, I think, like you said, the process works. That's what the goal is, process.
Get up
You're changing the process.
We just-
Oh, the process, we're leaving,
Goal would be.
Ed,
that the
you're out of
process
order,
works.
Ed, you're out of order. Let's go.
What the process is, everything will work out in 2 months, we'll see how it goes.
What
Doesn't
do
have to be a specific thing, why can't we just?
how does it go mean?
Well,
If they have 10, if they put in 10 or 20 violations in the 2 months, and I'm just saying that, they put in 20 violations and 20 violations are there. What is, they've been doing that or more or less, however, that's fine. But what are we setting as, how are we going to know it's working, that the process is working? If we don't have a way of knowing what the process is working, then we don't have a way of evaluating it.
I think if we give them 2 months and we sit down with their committee, we should be able to agree between all of us on what success is. If they feel good about what they're doing and we don't feel good about what they're doing, then we have some work to do. But we need to let them have a chance to have some success.
So how is that, put it into motion. Donna, do you want to,
It's on the floor.
what is the motion on the floor?
I put in the motion to do it for the 2 months and let's see if anything changes. And if not, like Mike says, then we'll be quiet. And if not, then we'll have another meeting and we'll sit down with Lisa and see what we can come up with.
So,
And I had seconded that original motion.
okay, Debbie, can you read it back? Or,
The motion is to give the newly elected committee members of Driftwood a chance to have success with the process that it is currently done.
for 2 months?
That, I stated that, for 2
Okay.
months.
All right, and the motion has been moved and seconded?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Committee reports, I'm sorry. None.
I just wanted to say something about what y'all were just talking about. I just wanted to say something about what y'all was talking about, like for what would be considered progress. Start with the driveways and the sidewalks, because every single one of them in there needs cleaned. If they can get over half of the driveways and sidewalks cleaned up, I'd call that progress. Considering I watched an old man sit in a chair and power wash this driveway, it wasn't even that bad. So
Okay, thank
a little
you.
reference for what they've done.
All right. Moving on. I'm gonna find my agenda here. Okay. No other committees? Oh, committees. I'd like to ask for a motion to allow all current committees to remain in, to continue until new members and new committees are formed. Yeah.
If you'll change that to new committees. Yeah, I'm sorry. When new people are appointed.
Yes.
Instead of the last word. And I'll second that.
Okay, yeah, you've got it. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye. And these sign-up sheets are.
I'm going to say that next. And there are sign-up sheets in the back for the committees, and we'll have them out this month. And if you want to sign up and you're not here, you can go to the office to sign up. All right, next, Budget Committee. Mike?
I had the privilege of chairing the Budget Committee. I'd like to thank all the other members of the committee for their hard work and perseverance, because it took several meetings to get this thing all put together. But the Budget Committee is pleased to present the attached proposed 2025-2026 budget. The suggested budget was initially presented to the Budget Committee on March the 4th, 2025 by Manager Jack Smith. Total of 4 budget meetings were held to review and make changes. On March 21st, the Budget Committee voted unanimously to accept the attached proposed budget for the year 2025-2026 and submit it to the TSCA Board for approval. The budget is based on current expenditures, projected expenses, and projected increase in costs. We also considered the history of our assessments. We've been paying $600 a year for 6 years. This budget assumes that family dues remain at $192 a year or $16 a month. Senior dues will be set at $660 a year or $55 a month, an increase of $60 a year. The reasoning for the increase in senior dues is the amount of reduction of prior year surplus, increase in necessary contribution to reserves to maintain fully funding the reserves as required by law, consideration of the economic conditions and current high costs of goods. The committee also thanks the board for approving the new reserve study. That those guys have already been in and gotten started on that. We should have that information. So with that, Madam President, I present that letter to you.
How much did it say the family fee is going up?
It's
Not
not
at all.
going up, it's not going to stay the same. I'd like to thank the Budget Committee for all the work. Thank you to Mike who chaired it, Connie Arneman, Tanya Binkley, Karen Fritsch, Bonnie Lipsky, Jennifer Smiley, Rob Stanuski, I hope I got it halfway right, Rob, Dave Tuller, and to Jack. Why is your name left off the list? Sorry, Patty, because Patty was. And Patty. I'm sorry, Patty. And Patty was. Thank you, and your job is done, and we appreciate it. Okay. Next. Fines and suspensions. Okay. The first is 10705 Tinopa Loop.
Want to read these out?
Just, all you need to is make the motion.
I move to find the owner of 10705 Tinopa Loop, $50 a day for maintenance of the home that is in violation of Tosca covenants up to $5,000.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, motion carries.
I move to find the owners of 10705 Tinopa Loop, $50 a day for maintenance of the lot that is in violation of Tosca covenants up to $5,000.
Second? Anyone? Second by Dave. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I move to find the owner of 11030 Rowanwood Drive, $50 a day for maintenance of their home. It is in violation of Tosca covenants up to $5,000.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I move to find the owner of 11515 Forest Run Court, $50 a day for maintenance of their home. It is in violation with Tosca covenants up to $5,000.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
There was a fine for 8234 Winewood Drive in violation of the maintenance of their home that has been corrected. And I move to find the owners of 8025 San Fernando Drive, $50 a day for personal property storage that's in violation of Tosca covenants up to $5,000.
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to find the owner of 8101 Casarena Drive, $50 a day for maintenance of their home. It's in violation of Tosca covenants up to $5,000.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, motion carries.
I move to find the owner of 8101 Casarena Drive, $50 a day for maintenance of their lot. It's in violation of Tosca covenants up to $5,000.
Second, please.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
There was a fine for 10514 Meadow Hill Drive for maintenance of their home that has been corrected. I move to find the owners of 10947 Pepper Tree Lane, $50 a day for parking of a boat. It is in violation of Tosca covenants up to $5,000.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, motion carries.
I move to find the owner of 8605 Woodcrest Drive, $50 a day for parking of a car. It is in violation of Tosca covenants up to $5,000.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, motion carries.
I move to find the owner of 11124 Salt Tree Drive, $50 a day for parking of utility trailer that's in violation of Tosca covenants up to $5,000.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, motion carried.
And I move to find the owner of 11033 Salt Tree Drive, $50 a day for landscape maintenance that is in violation of Tosca covenants up to $5,000.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Seeing none, motion carried. Okay. Now I'd like to move this over on my agenda again.
Correspondence.
Yes. Correspondence, we have no correspondence. I ask for a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, open forum.
My
name's Dave Tullis, in case you didn't know who I am.